What's up YouTube and welcome to a new video. Now in last week's video I showed you that 911, 996 values are out of control. They increased with 40%. In that video I also asked you for which car you would like to see an analysis, and many of you responded with a request for the 996 Turbo. So you guessed it, this week we will have a look at the 996 Turbo market. We will find out if the value increase is as severe as in the 996 Carrera market, if the manuals went up more than the automatics, and how the price change in the 996 Turbo market relates to the change in the 997 and 991 Turbo market. But before we have a look at that, let's have a look at today's market. Over here we have the US Turbo market at the end of May. The model year is displayed on the horizontal axis and the price on the vertical axis. Now first of all you can see that the market is very small. There are only 54 cars for sale. And this contrasts to the price variation, which is very large. Prices start at $45,000, but the most expensive cars will set you back twice that amount. They tend to go for $95,000. The median price of course lays somewhere in the middle and sits at $64,000. And for this price, you tend to get a car with 38,000 miles. Now if we split the market by engine type, so the normal turbo, the S, and the ones which have the X50 upgrade, then we can see that the latter two are extremely rare. We can see that there are only 5 cars for sale which have the X50 upgrade and only 2 Turbo S's. And all of this means of course that we need to be very careful when we look at the numbers for this market split. Also, you can see that these things can elevate the price, but do not per definition mean that the car is priced higher than the rest of the market. Now if we split the market by roof type, then we can also see that the Coupe is the most popular, as it makes up 80% of the market. Yet they are priced the same as the Cabriolets. There is no significant price difference between them. Now then, let's have a look at the last split, and perhaps the most interesting one. The split between the automatic and the manuals. Over here we can now see that most cars are manuals. Also, we can see that they have a median price of $66,000, which is $7,000 above the median price for the automatics. And unsurprisingly, this group of cars here, which is priced at the top end of the market, are all manuals. Moreover, they are all low mileage examples which are in excellent condition. Alright, we have now a good overview of the market, and that means that it's time to have a look at the price changes. But before we do so, if you like this video and the data-driven approach, please support the channel by smashing that like button. Thank you. Over here we have now the price development over time. On the horizontal axis we have the date, and on the vertical axis we have the price. Now you can see that between June 2020 and May 2021, prices went up. In June 2020, the median price for a 996 Turbo was $51,900, and now it sits at $63,900. So prices went up with $12,000 or 23%. Moreover, this increase is statistically confirmed, and this means that it is unlikely to be the result of chance. An increase of 23% is then also quite a good result. However, it's not as good as the 40% increase which we saw in the 996 Carrera market. A possible reason for this can be that the 996 Turbo market bottomed out slightly earlier than the normal models, and also went up more before the pandemic started. Another reason can be that the Turbo is simply more expensive to purchase. Following the pandemic, disposable income increased, and this is a potential reason for the price increase for these older cars. However, at $55,000 the Turbo was almost twice as expensive as a normal 996, making it more unattainable and therefore perhaps seeing a smaller demand increase. Now if we look at the price drivers, then we can maybe see some of this effect. Over here we have the market supply, the mileage development and the model year development for the 996 Carrera and Turbo market. We can see that in both markets supply decreased with 50%. And this by itself is of course very interesting. Is it a coincidence that it is 50% in both markets? I don't think so. Yet in absolute terms we can see that supply decreased with 53 cars in the Turbo market and with 120 cars in the Carrera market. So what do you think? Why are the Carreras up almost twice as much as the Turbos? Let me know down in the comment section. I'm curious to hear your thoughts. Now if we look at the other price drivers, then we can see that in both markets the median mileage decreased slightly, helping the price increase. We can also see that the median model year increased by 1 year in the Turbo market. Now let's focus again only on the Turbo market. Are there, for example, market segments which increased more than others and therefore can explain some of this price increase? Let's have a look and we start with the split between the automatics and the manuals. Over here we have now in blue the manuals and in orange the automatics, and you can see that the market segments developed in parallel. They both increased with around 20%. For the automatics this means an increase of $9.3 thousand and for the manuals an increase of $11,000. And this also means that the premium between the manuals and the automatics remained approximately the same. This was $5.4 thousand and sits now at $7.2 thousand. Now I also looked at the same type of graph, but then split by roof type, so between the coupes and the cabriolets. There was however no significant difference in the price development. However, what you probably really want to know is the difference between the normal turbos, the ones with the X50 package, and the S's. So let's have a look. Over here you can see now the price development for the S models in blue, for the ones with the X50 package in green, and for the base turbos in orange. Now first of all you can see that the blue line is sloping downwards, which means that prices for the S models decreased. However, as we saw earlier, this market and also the X50 market are extremely small. It is then also so that the median mileage increased significantly for the S market, and that in combination with the small market size, this makes it seem like prices decreased. However, in reality, it is the market composition which changed here. Now if we look at the S market, then we can see that the price increase is slightly less severe than in the base market, as it sits at 15%, where it is 20% in the base market. But again, there are some changes to the market composition. In the S market, the median mileage decreased significantly, and also the median model year went down. Moreover, you can see that the median price point lays at the bottom of the confidence interval, something which is a bit atypical. Hence, in combination with the small market size, this means that you need to interpret this number of 15% with some care. Moreover, I would go as far as to say that I don't see any reason as to why the increase in the S market shouldn't be the same as the one in the base market. Alright, we established now that prices increased and that they increased for almost all market segments. But how does this increase relate to the 997 turbo market and the 991 turbo market? Is the 996 the most popular turbo of the moment, or is it perhaps the praised 991? Let's have a look. Over here we have again the price development for the 996 turbo. And this you know by now. Prices went up by 23%. So let's insert the 997.1 and 997.2. You can see that I don't have the exact same dates, but from September 2019 till now, the 997.1 went up with 10% and the 997.2 with 6%. And that is still a bit off from the 23% in the 996 market. Let's add now the 991.1 and 991.2. The scale of the graph increased now, so it's a bit harder to see. But also prices in the 991.1 market went up. They increased with 4%. Yet, prices in the 991.2 market decreased with 6%. And that's something you don't see often these days. Now there are of course some peculiarities to the 997 and 991 market. So if you want to know more about those price changes, then I recommend that you check out the full depreciation analysis for those markets. I will put the links to those videos in the description of this video, so check them out down below. In any case, out of the 3 generations, and based on this graph, the 996 turbo indeed seems to be the most popular turbo right now. However, when cars go up in value, it can happen that they become extremely sensitive to mileages. Let's see now if that is also the case for the 996 turbo market. Over here we have the mileage on the horizontal axis and the price on the vertical axis. On the left hand side we have the manuals and the automatics are displayed on the right hand side. The lines show the depreciation per 1000 miles. In blue we have last year's curve and in orange we have today's curve. You can see that the orange curve lays above the blue one because prices went up. Now if we look at the depreciation, then we can see that this was $506 per 1000 miles or minus 0.6% for the manual, and that this remained more or less the same. Currently it sits at minus $426 per 1000 miles or minus 0.7% per 1000 miles. If we look then at the automatics, then we can see that it was minus 296 or minus 0.5% per 1000 miles driven. And also these numbers didn't really change. In today's market, it sits at minus $319 or minus 0.4% per 1000 miles driven. So based on these numbers, the mileage sensitivity didn't really change. You can then also see that the slope of the curves remained more or less the same over time. However, you can see that the mileage sensitivity is slightly higher for the manuals than for the coupes, and this results from these low mileage manuals which are priced quite high. After all, it is this group which is responsible for the creation of the steep curve. And with that, let's wrap up and conclude. So, the 996 turbo market. Unsurprisingly, this is yet another market where prices went up. Moreover, with a price increase of 20%, it ranks relatively high when you compare it to the price increase in some other markets. Yet, compared to the increase in the 996 Carrera market, it doesn't seem so significant. Over there we namely saw a price increase of 40%. And with that we arrive at the end of this video. Now if you like this data-driven way of analyzing car markets, but would have liked to see the analysis for a different car, let me know down in the comment section for which car you would like to see an analysis. Once there are enough requests for a certain car, I will make a video about it. Don't forget then to subscribe and click on the notification bell so you will get notified when your requested analysis goes live. As always, thank you for watching and I hope to see you next week for a new video.